conversation. So stick around. We'll see you in just a sec. As a sick map intro gets underway. Welcome back. Welcome back. Side note before we get started, I googled it while we're on the break. I guess ESL forces a lot of default commands on the observer UI, so that's why my hotkeys weren't working that game. So the more we know, guys, the more we know. Luckily, I don't use too many observer hotkeys in the first place, so it shouldn't mess up. Anyways, a new best of 3 underway here in the Copa America Season 2 2014. Spawning here in the top left corner of the map, we just saw this guy Nuke and Banshee Proxy, another Terran. Can he do it again? The red Terran player, not Zerg, from IVD Gaming. It's Ruff.
He was a Zerg. That would have been pretty sick.
That would,
Parasite into Ghost Academy Rush.
Right?
No?
Like, rush, okay, quote unquote. Because it's going to be like 20 minutes just to get that normal Parasite out anyways in the first place.
Alright, in the upper right is the yellow Terran. It is Soldier.
From Rebirth Esports. Because this time I'm actually looking up player clan tags, like a diligent guy should. Ruff taking a slightly later gas, sadly to me, means he's not going to do anything too cheeky this time.
Oh, are you so sad?
I'm so sad because, again, like one of the biggest things about watching Ruff is like, well, he is talented enough to play a regular game. I think everybody loves watching Ruff for his weird play styles. I know every single person I've ever talked to that's ever played against Ruff hates playing against him because of the stranger things he does.
You know, it's kind of funny. I don't really want to like talk bad about any of these players, and it's not really bad, I guess, but I'm sure someone will take offense. But like, they're so frustrating to play against, but then like the real like pro gamers, like Korean pro Terrans, they just kind of slap stuff like what Ruff does down. You know, it's always so cool to watch and see stuff like this and see it work so well, but it doesn't actually hold up like
no,
in
I mean
GSL
that's
or something like that.
right, and that's the thing that with all sort of, whether it's an all-in or a cheese, like once you learn how to defend against it, you pretty much automatically win. So there's gonna be players who maybe they've never come up against Ruff's style of like 3-port Banshee, but at the same time, there's a reason players don't try and execute 3-port Banshee.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was at least one Korean game, not in 2010, that was like a 2-rack or 2-port Banshee, but yeah, it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare. We do have Ruff going with something just as interesting. I mean, it's not like, you know, the Ghost Academy Rush, but it's Stim in a TVT.
Well,
no, now it's Marauder
Sim.
Slow.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's concussive shell. You're crazy.
It was Stim.
I'm sure it was Zombie Grab. I'm sure it was. I can clearly look at the top left corner of the screen right now, and that sure looks
Wow,
like a
Rifkin.
concussive shell to me, though.
I can't even tell if you're trolling me.
No, actually, I have no idea if he did start stimming up, but the
He
concussive
did.
shells, well, sure, if you say so there, but concussive shells are actually going to be fantastic for catching Reapers. Marauders in general are a good way to shut them down. If you're getting proxy Repeat or something, guys, a Marauder is like probably your best bet at shutting it down, because they just tickle these things.
Yeah, you know, I would be really surprised if he did this because of the Reapers, if he was afraid that it was a 2-Rex Reaper.
Ew.
I mean, at this point, you would figure that the 3 Reapers would always be on the way, so I think that timing's already passed, but a long time ago, when people were doing nothing but, like, you know, opening Reapers in TVT, the only, like, the only way, quote-unquote, back was, like, to get Marauders slow and Marauders if they were cheesing really hard. It's no longer the case, but I just, like, I wonder if he was that paranoid.
It's definitely something that could have been on his mind, but I mean the other thing too is like, what does an earlier stim like that really play into though?
A bio attack with Medivacs.
That's true, I guess. But I mean, at that stage of the game, you gotta kind of assume someone's like either Hellions or Siege Tank or I don't know. Like I've not quite seen someone rush out stim. I've seen early stim timings, but that was like a really rushed stim if that had not been concussive shells instead.
Yeah, and even concussive shells is really, really quick, so it's still a fast stim. I think for any matchup, actually.
I wish, just side note, you know, coming against Protoss sometimes, I wish stim was as fast as concussive shells. I don't mind it being long for the other matches, but there should be like this like hidden passive called like paranoia or something, right? When you're facing a Protoss, that way it lets Terran players research it a little bit quicker.
Well, that was actually a okay suggestion back when Blink Soccer was a problem, was reverting the stim nerf. And people were like, "Oh, it totally ruined the game," and people were like, "Well, actually, because of the mothership core, would it?"
Yeah,
but yeah, nothing ever came of it.
It's funny and weird how many Terran things have been slightly tweaked over time. Like, I mean, Stim's one that's been like this for a long time, so I think a lot of people have forgotten about it. The SCV HP nerf, I mean, I think, if I'm not correct, or incorrect, they used to have like either 15 or 20 more HP than they do now. I mean, it's like lots of little things in the early game, because let's be honest, Terran could do some pretty BS things once upon a time. But these double medevacs, man, these are going to time out with that stim really nicely, and this will be the kind of push you were describing before. Banshee is going to do an okay job at helping with this, but he's going to have to rely on making sure he uses the Hellions. The problem is, a lot of the time, the Hellions can kite the Marines around.
Ooh.
He dodges that. He dodged that because he saw it with the factory. Oh my god. So cool. So cool.
Okay, so that drop is going to commence, but there's a missile turret on Ruff's side, so that Banshee probably not going to do a whole lot, and with Stim already done, you have to worry about it being sniped off. The thing he didn't want to do, drop on top of the Hellions. Maybe if he had gotten them all unloaded and then the Hellions engaged, that's still okay, but definitely not on top of the Hellions.
Okay. Barely doesn't get the Banshee, but the Banshee does no damage whatsoever. This Widowmine's gonna hurt though. Ooh, now this Hellions, he's gotta pick up. He's gotta pick up.
So now you see why like most people don't open like this.
Yeah.
You do have to rely so much on Marines that a Hellion opener and a lot of Hellions, you know, too, is fine. And then imagine if the Banshee was still there and all the Marines get roasted. Well, then the Marauders can't do anything.
There's a turret in the wall. I can safely say I've never seen that before, but it will still work.
He's loading up another medevac, though. I mean, he did see that the Hellions were all on the way to the other side of the map, but as long as he's holed up in his or his main, then that's not a problem.
Well, he's going to break through this wall, and that is going to be a problem for Ruff. The Marauders can only hold for so long. There's too many Hellions. He can land the Viking as well. Ruff is going to lose everything. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he'll win on this side of the field. He's actually building a tech lab, but what he could do is kill this. Well, what I'm saying is he can focus down the starport and just lift the factory over and use that tech lab instead.
That's a good point. And no one remembers that, though. Alright, the Hellions of Soldier got into the main, they got into the SCV line. There was no helping Ruff right there. I mean, maybe if he had medevacs over there, he could pick him up and do like a full base trade, like switch.
Well, actually, the Viking did die, so he could lift the buildings up and stay safe, start dropping mules, whatever the case may be, because, quite frankly, while these Hellions are rushing home, they did take enough damage that the bio that Ruff has at the top of this ramp...
I think so.
Yeah, plus a siege tank
on top of the ramp.
He's actually going to block out the one open depot with this tank.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, they can open another depot, but still.
He's got to be careful with sieging this, though. I mean, quite frankly, this is going to be in a weird spot. Widowmine's going to get a shot off, though.
You know? Like,
oh, that Widowmine's going to actually deal a good chunk of damage to the tank. 35 HP is not a lot to work with.
Okay, so Soldier just repositions his army. You just pick up the army, and you move it somewhere else.
Hey. The production, yeah, the cast made earlier today. The Widowmine's actually going to finish off this tank, which is going to be really problematic if he doesn't scan, and he can't scan because he's trying to drop mules. So there we go. Scan does go off, and command center falls. But I mean, Soldier picked up a lot of his base, and he's still got a fair amount of units to fight with. But it doesn't contend with Stim bio is the problem.
Well, if he could always engage the Marines.
Look, he just hold position on top of the cliff, no mining.
Yeah, that's the problem. If Ruff had to like drop on top of the Hellions
How is...
still like win kind of, but
the Marauder has range on that. It's so stupid.
Soldier just gets to like pack up and leave.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Soldier. This, honestly, for a moment, this looked like he had held against Ruff's initial attack. I thought he was going to thwart this with a big counterattack. I think he did too. That's why he dedicated so much to it. But I think just sticking around longer than necessary is what really ended up costing him a lot here. But Ruff does push forward, and these Hellions are unfortunately going to choke in through a barracks. SCVs are going to try and buffer for this, but let's not forget, Ruff can always evacuate to his tank. He's not, though, and this is going to hurt. These medevacs are out of energy, and these SCVs are actually dealing a ton of damage to the Marauders.
That one Marauder from Soldier is such a boss. It took down the Marauders, the Hellion couldn't. Plus the Reaper came out of nowhere. He actually took down Ruff's army, but we're in a weird position where Soldier's at 0 SCVs. A worse army, actually, even still,
Yeah,
and Ruff is mining.
Let's not forget Ruff Siege Tank is going to be a big threat too. I mean, I kind of wish he had picked up with the medevac and brought it home, because he definitely need that on the defense, I feel.
Yeah, he remembered it now, so he could go back and do
but
it.
look at round 2 ready to go for Ruff, though. I mean, he might not have a lot on the other side of the field, but he does have a pretty nice looking army. 3 medevacs almost full. I mean, he might have to. It'll be a bit awkward. No, he's actually going to wall this off. I thought he was going to expand. Whoa, oh, that's right. This is Ruff. Who am I kidding? So he just walls off the top of the ramp and just continues with the all-in.
What is so unfortunate is that I truly believe if Soldier just played a little, just defensive, not a little, just plain defensive, I think he would actually be in a really great position.
I don't know I 100% agree with that, but I do wish he hadn't dedicated so much to the aggression. Like, clearing out the mineral line of Ruff was cool and all, but he stayed way too long was the problem.
Well, we didn't really, because everything was going on, we didn't really notice or think about what Soldier had, but he had 3 command centers. He had his production going.
That's true, yeah.
He was going to be far ahead of Ruff should he actually survive.
Oh, that concussive shell. So mean. Well, command center goes down, and that's it for Soldier at this point. 6 supply, GG is called Ruff. We'll take game number 1 in this best of 3. And again, this is why I was kind of campaigning for Ruff games, guys. Win or lose, it's always going to be interesting. But a very nice game out of him. But again, like, credit is where credit deserved where credit's due. Soldier, he didn't play too poorly. Just, again, 1 or 2 small mistakes in the nature of a mirror matchup can really cost you. Although, as much as that was a mirror matchup, it didn't feel like it, because of course both players had incredibly different units. We had Hellions and Marines on one side, Marauders on the other. But, yeah, we'll get into game number 2 here in a moment's time, guys. We'll stay off of the commercial break for a moment. Again, I apologize for hitting you guys up with so many commercials earlier, but quite frankly, when you're on, like, 30 minutes of downtime because your series finished so quick, there's not a lot else to do. So, unless this one also takes a long time, we'll try and just keep this somewhat commercial-free and hop into the next game. But if I get a message that's like, by the way, guys, AFK 20 minutes toilet, then maybe we'll change that. See here. So are they talking to us or are they talking to somebody else?
Pretty sure that's us, because we didn't have them.
But we didn't make it.
Well, that's what I just said.
Okay.
I got this. I got this.
Oh yeah, I got PM'd with a big capital WTF. Oh well. And we should be just about ready to go here with game number 2, guys. Should be some pretty good stuff out of Ruff. There we go. Overgrowth from Soldier. I guess we should suggest admin so we don't get anyone in trouble this time. But what's this next map going to be? So I queue up the map intro. Overgrowth. I feel like the same 2 maps today. Jeez, Habitation and Overgrowth back to back. TVT. And let's not forget, it's... Where's the score over here? Ruff is now up 1. Wooching. Saved. Done. So, they keep declining. Do I keep trying to invite or should we just go? Okay, they say go, go, go. Okay. players ready. Sorry, some small misunderstanding going on there, guys. I guess the admins wanted to create the first game, and these guys had just jumped into it. So no harm, no foul. Ruff saying he's ready, just waiting on Soldier to ready up here too. And we'll hop into the next match. Again, guys, do me a favor. If you're on Twitter, go hashtag SC2 Copa America. Link the stream. Tag your friends. Tag me. Tag Zombie God. We'll retweet you. And, of course, cheer for your favorite player. But here we go into Overgrowth. Map number 2. Whoa, where's this thing? See you in a sec. Welcome back to Copa America. This is game number 2 in a best of 3, and we are pretty rocking after that first game. We had some pretty fun games so far today, guys, but another one sure to be had. Spawning here in the top right corner of the map from Rebirth Esports. Currently down 1 at the moment. The Yellow Terran Soldier.
The bottom left as the Red Terran is Ruff.
So there's a couple players like this, and I think I'll reference this guy. I know we've been not dropping a lot of names, and people have been kind of like iffy about that, but because he's in Copa America, and he's a big part of the Latin community, another player I will reference here will be Jim Rising. Ruff plays very similar to the stylings of Jim Rising. Obviously Jim Zerg, so what do I mean by this? Where these guys don't exactly follow the rules of quote-unquote metagame, or the standard play stylings. They're both capable of it. Jim Rising, of course, seems to be very, very, very Mutalisk focused a lot of the time. Sometimes to the extent where he doesn't even go Zerglings or Banlings, but the point is they're both really good players who have their weaknesses, but their greatest strengths, and Ruff's especially, is playing somewhat abnormally. Something that is intended to catch your opponent off guard. It's not cheesy, it's not something that's always all in, but it's always something that's a little bit different, and quite frankly, as we've seen so far today, players are not prepared for.
Okay, so here's what's interesting so far already. Doesn't look like a whole lot, but Ruff went for a gas first again. He had similar scouting patterns with this SUV to ensure that Soldier isn't going for a 2x Reaper. Is he going to do the same build on the same map?
It's fairly possible. A big reason why this is such an attractive build to do is if you do scout your opponent walling off like what's happening right now, not only do you like take out those 2 supply depots, it hardcore supply blocks them if you manage to land that nuke. Not to mention the radius of a nuke is so large you can encompass the top of the ramp and like half of the bottom at the same time.
The thing about what we saw in that first nuke rush was that his opponent went for something that was an expand. He didn't go for a 1-1-1 in the Banshees that was really aggressive. So I can't really say because I haven't seen that build long enough at all to know if a Banshee build would help or hurt even. I don't know.
Actually, from experience of doing this build, and actually it doesn't help as much as you think it would. If you've only got the Ghost, it's no good because the Ghost can't snipe, but it still has bonus damage versus light, which a Banshee is. If you have 1 to 2 Marines and you micro it correctly, though, the Ghost actually kicks the Banshee's ass.
Okay, but I do recall that he didn't have any. Wait, he may have had 1 or 2 Marines actually. It was mostly Hellions though. That was the whole goal of the build. That he got Hellions.
You break it so you can get your Hellions in, yeah.
Right, but say they didn't expand.
I think he's
his
gonna
last
do it.
opponent tried to expand, and that seemed like a bad move. And it's not going to be it.
Uh-uh.
He goes to the starport.
It's not the expand that makes that like the go or not, though. I mean, the point is like you scout to see if it's viable in the first place. But hang on, we'll talk about this in a second. This Marine is sadly going to die. 2 Hellions are about to pop out, though. These Reapers can't stick around for too long. They might get the SUV kill, a bit of a nuisance, but they will lose one of the Reapers. Actually, doesn't even get the SUV kill. Holds on to the 5 health. But at any rate, the whole point of the nuke crush is like whoa, I just realized nuke rush or nuke crush. Am I right? Anyways. The whole point of like doing that earlier is like it breaks buildings. For those who don't know, like we've all seen nukes do a ton of damage to units, fine, great, but it does additional damage to buildings, and nothing's gonna tear a building down faster, not even banelings in comparison, than a nuke. So again, whether it's just breaking the wall off for the Hellions to run into the mineral line, whether it's actually killing a bunker like we saw, there's a whole multitude of uses for it. But Ruff is playing kind of like he's playing against Zerg, I gotta say, the cloaked Banshee Hellion opener. Although there are two SCVs coming across the map.
He could try and bust up here. He's kind of banking on the fact that a Marine Con's going to be...
I kind of feel like he's going to proxy Marauders.
He might.
Well, the SCV is going to repair. It seems like a very minor thing, but the repair does help quite a bit. Shelling away at the depot. It's also very scary because as a Terran player, you cannot repair your depots.
Oh, block it. Oh.
Look at this. SCVs are actually helping the DPS. Good guy, SCVs.
Well, he kind of blocked himself in. Oh, I guess not.
Whoa, the SCV got the killing blow in the bunker, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Or not the bunker, the supply depot. Anyways, oh, SCV's getting pulled into this. Always a risky move to take.
Well,
It's so tempting to fight him.
I don't know why.
I don't know why he didn't target them.
Well,
For Ruff, this attack,
trying a little bit.
I think this attack just utterly failed for Ruff, quite frankly.
I think so as well. I think so far he's really had just luck in his builds, facing builds that just didn't have a lot of units. I mean, last time Soldier, like the last game, Soldier did have enough units to deflect. He just made maybe the wrong choice about counterattacking.
No, I think this
but
is
as long
just
as they have enough units, like...
This was a really good build out of Soldier, is what this was. Because now he's chasing across the map. There's a Banshee here, granted. But there's still 8 Marines he's got to worry about. On top of this, we...
Also... no, you're not going to drop and save... Oh, you gotta go
not
back
one at a
to
time. Yeah, not one at a time, for sure. That Marauder, by the way.
What?
I told you he was going to make a Marauder.
And the Marines stopped shooting it, too, so it lives to kill the SCC.
They start unloading on top of the Hellion. This is what we were talking about before, not doing, guys. And also worth noting, a Banshee actually takes 3 shots to kill a Marine that's being healed instead of 2.
Stop. No!
And he escapes.
Oh,
But there's 2
so
orbitals.
close.
There's another scan. There we go.
Alright, Soldier is holding on. I think...
Yeah,
Again,
but
he could have a lot better defense, but it's still pretty good. And consider that Ruff still is not expended.
that's exactly the point I was going to start bringing up, where it's like, right now for Ruff, it's kind of a focused all-in.
That's
I mean,
not correctly placed, by the way, the command center.
Well, I mean,
Hopefully it remembers to lift it and change
You
it.
say, yeah, you're Terran. You good. But flies out of the scan range once again, so there's not going to be another scan for... Actually, there is, right away. Take it back. But even then, like, burning these scans for Ruff, guys, that's the difference of Soldier being ahead or not. Now, granted, he has to scan, because he has no other form of detection. But every one of these scans, if they had been a Mule, would be Soldier, rather, monstrously far ahead of Ruff. But I don't think he's actually been able to drop a single Mule in about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Oh. But he does have double SCV production once he's... Yeah, starting
Is
now.
Ruff really going to continue to insist with these attacks? Looks like it's going to be the case.
You know, it's still at a point where Soldier has a low enough army that these will continue to be effective. Soldier really has enough time to get that, you know, the army just tells Ruff, like, no, you can't do it anymore.
Oh, he didn't re-wall off the top of his ramp. Oh, that's going to hurt when those Hellions run up it. The Viking decided to land for a second there, but I think he realized, like, oh yeah, there's a Banshee.
Yeah, but I think it would have been... I don't know.
I think Ruff can hold it
to
home.
help.
There's a Banshee, there's a Hellion at home too. I think he's going to hold this pretty well. Hellions are just going to town, and the Viking doesn't land. SCV is going to try and repair this. Normally this is okay. Vikings actually have phenomenally good DPS when you've got more than one of them. As we see, it is slowly chipping away at these, but he needs to keep it in the air for the Banshee. Realizing that he didn't do any damage across the map, GG is called, and Ruff will take another 2-0 in Copa America.